And here it is as we head into the last week of the regular season of the NFL. Here is the NFL playoff picture. This is filled with so many teams. Some teams have already clinched. Still a couple teams who can still slip into the playoffs. But I'm going to go through each side. Looking at the AFC, we have the Chiefs who have clinched the first round bye. They are going to sit their players for the final week in the NFL against the Denver Broncos. I'll be interested to see because the Broncos need that win to make the playoffs. And I think, with the Chiefs sitting their starters, the Broncos need to just do the bare minimum to win that football game. And I think the Broncos will end up being that last team in. I think the Bengals, they got hot too late. And that ultimately is going to get them out of the playoffs. And, I hate to see it. Joe Burrow, who's, very much so playing as an MVP caliber player, but because of the defense that team has had all season long, because of that team, they just haven't been able to get it done. So I'm going to take the Broncos will make the college football playoffs. Sorry, the Broncos will make the playoffs, and this will be the seeding for the AFC. I mean, you have to just again the Chiefs at number one, who in my opinion, I'm going to say it, they're the best team in the NFL. What they have done all season long, winning football games, the way they've won football games. Patrick Mahomes hasn't had his best season ever, but he has been. They've been the most in control team all season long, and it's been amazing to watch. And so that's why they wrapped up that number one seed. Looking at the first round wild card, I mean, you have the Bills versus the Broncos. I think the Buffalo Bills are the best team, or the second best team, second or third best team in the league. They are going to be dominant, and I think it's their game to lose. It's their championship to lose this season. They should be meeting the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game at the end of at the end of the playoffs. And it's they control their own fate. You look at the Chargers versus the Ravens. I mean, if the Ravens are arrogant, they will buckle to the Chargers. If they leave their scheme, if they go away from the run, they will lose. Because the Chargers, there's one thing that Chargers team is, and they are coached very, very well. The Harbaugh brothers will play against each other again, and that will be some of the a really good game as well. Again, we're gonna see some fun football. Lad McClunkey is balling out right now, but they need a true big number one receiver inside of the Chargers. So, but when we look at that team, the foundation is built. Like they can start adding pieces to make that team even better. The Ravens, though, they have Lamar Jackson, who's an MVP caliber player, or who's an MVP candidate. You have Derrick Henry, who's an Offensive Player of the Year candidate. You have those two players mixed with Mark Andrews, who's finding himself recently. They can control this game. They can control this team. If their offense can get going and put up 40 points, hang 40 points on that defense of the Chargers, then this will be an easy win for the Baltimore Ravens. But if it stays in the 20s, like the low 20s, it will be a hard game for the Ravens to win. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Texans. These are two teams who, I hate to say it, but who haven't looked great over the past month and a half. And December is a month that you as a team need to be good. Like December is a month that you have to be relevant in the NFL. You have to start winning football games, putting together consistency. But both of these teams have not. But both of these teams one of these teams will make it to the next round. I mean, who will it be? Will it be C.J. Stroud in his second year, or will it be the Pittsburgh Steelers with Russell Wilson? They need to find and figure it out. But I think it will be the Pittsburgh Steelers that advances over the Houston Texans. What's crazy is that people are calling for the firing of both of these coaches, which in my opinion is an absolute joke. DeMeco Ryans turned around a franchise who have been impoverished for months. For years. Completely impoverished, and now they are in stride. They've had a lot of injuries this season, but I think next season they'll bounce back and they'll be a little bit better. And so that's what I have on that side. Bengals a little bit too late. Dolphins are a little bit too late. Then you have on the NFC, you have the Detroit Lions, number one seed. They will play, funny enough, their rivals, the Minnesota Vikings, to see who gets that number one seed. This game on Sunday night will be one of the best games in recent history. We have two teams who are very high-powered offenses. The defense of the Detroit Lions have been banged up a lot. Their whole team is banged up right now, but they still have showed that sign of fight, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But I expect this. Listen, Atlanta and Tampa Bay Buccaneers are both going at it to see who's trying to figure out. The Saints play the Buccaneers, and the Atlanta Falcons play the Panthers, I think. And so, whoever gets those wins gets into the playoffs. But the rest of these are shored up. The Packers are shored up. The Eagles are shored up. The Commanders, the Rams, because I think the Rams, they're done. They're probably going to sit everybody. So we'll see what that looks like. And then Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they took that bad loss against the Cowboys. They shouldn't have lost that game. That's going to cause them some troubles at this point. So I'll be interested to see what happens with the NFC South. As a Saints fan, I'll be interested to see what happens with the NFC South. But man, some of these games are going to be so much fun to watch. You have the Packers versus the Eagles. If the Eagles go into it with a head of arrogance, they will lose this football game. Give Saquon the ball, and allow the play action to start to work, and then they'll just be able to dot everybody up. But the Packers, they've showed signs of being wanting to be one of the best teams in the NFL. I mean, we have to give credit to where credit's due. Some of these coaches in the NFL have been doing a tremendous job. You could say Matt LaFleur. You can say Kevin O'Connell has been absolutely outstanding for what he's done. He's surely Kevin O'Connell looks like and acts like the kind of coach that Sean McVay is, who in my opinion is a great coach as well. All these guys have done tremendous jobs this season. Dan Campbell, obviously. Dan Quinn, obviously. Like, these guys have done an outstanding job in the NFC, and we're getting some of the best football in the NFL right now. These playoff matchups for both sides, except that 4 and 5 seed for the AFC, even that game's going to be good. Like, we're getting some of the best football playoffs that we're going to get for a long time, and I'm so excited to watch it this year. But I mean, if I had to pick against the Commanders and the Rams, that's going to be a hard game. I think what Buccaneers team shows up against the Vikings if they make it. Like, that's the question. That's all the question. Like, which one of these teams are going to show up in the first round? But let me know what y'all think about these AFC or the NFC and AFC playoff picture. It's going to be a fun Week 18. It's going to be a great playoffs coming up.